Hey guys, another week, another game dev vlog, and this week has been a little slow in development of Rotate, but like that's new. I definitely think that I'm finally getting the storytelling and level design figured out. It's really starting to feel a whole lot better, but there's still a lot of work left to be done. Now, other than working on some of the storytelling and level design this week, I also am playing around with some tweaks to the death animation, although it hasn't really changed a whole lot. Now, I definitely do not want to spend a ridiculous amount of time on all of this. The game has already been dragging on for quite some time now, but I can't really be too hard on myself because this is my first time trying to do something on this scale. I just need to learn as I go, gain some more experience, and really get better at all this. And in particular, get a lot faster. But anyway, in this video, I actually want to focus on something a little different, and that is my involvement in Everybody Edits, and why I care about Everybody Edits in the first place. Now, of course, a good place to start would be, well, when I first discovered the game, and that was back in, I think it was September of 2010. That was quite a ways back in Everybody Edits, and I just did some research, and it looks like that was version 0.8 approximately. How I first discovered the game was, well, I was 10 at the time, and I was just starting to browse the web and look for games, because I always had a fascination with different games and game development and all that. I used to draw my own games on paper before I knew how to make them. But anyway, at this point, I was looking on Kongregate in the multiplayer games section, looking at a few different ones, going in and out of different games, and I happened across Everybody Edits. And it was definitely a very confusing game. I did not understand the concept, because I was like, how do you place a start and finish? Because that's what I expected from most of the games I'd played up until then. So it was a little confusing. I was like, is the crown the finish block? So, but yeah, eventually I figured out how the game worked. But from the very beginning, the game was definitely something very interesting to me and very unique and unlike anything I'd played before, so it definitely caught my attention. And over the next few months, we played quite a bit. I remember making a bunch of different levels, some of which got fairly popular. Of course, they were all locked worlds, nothing saved. Actually, we didn't even get an account until, I think it was January of 2011. When we finally convinced parents to let us create an account on the game. I remember one of the things that was good about the game was the simplicity of it, especially once I understood that the game doesn't really have an objective. But what I especially consider to be the golden age of Everybody Edits, I guess that was around 2011, maybe into 2012, I'm not quite sure, but around the time from when backgrounds were added and some of the first block packages that really expanded things were added, and even up until the point when the first Christmas stuff was added, and piano blocks and all that, and like coin doors along the way at some point. I don't remember exactly how that all ties in, spawn points, all that. That was the point when I think Everybody Edits really hit its peak, and I think that also correlates to when the player base was the biggest, and there was more people consistently online. Like, one thing that I noticed looking through a lot of old videos is that oftentimes back then, though there were like 1,000 or 1,500 people online very frequently, and nowadays the game often has less than 50 online at any given time. So I guess that really goes to show the engagement that the game can create when it actually is done properly. Now, I definitely think Everybody Edits had some flaws from the beginning. It wasn't perfect, but the simplicity of it made up for that. Now, getting back to my original point of why I care about Everybody Edits, I've been around Everybody Edits for all this time, through the period of Mr. Shu owning the game, through all the different owners, and throughout like some of the later periods I've been a little less active on the game, mostly because it just lost its charm over time. And I really think that Everybody Edits hasn't explored its full potential. It went way off track, and it hasn't been able to recover since then. And I don't know exactly where it went off track. It was more of a gradual thing, I guess, just over time. It was a slippery slope. Like, there's so much more that could be done with the game to make it a fun experience for people to create and to be social and all that. And I really feel that I might be able to help with that. Now, I know it's going to take a collaboration of all of us on the team, and it's going to take a lot of hard work and probably some really difficult decisions. But I think it'll all be for the best, and we'll be able to create something that really hasn't happened before in Everybody Edits. In some sense, returning to how the game was at its peak, but really taking that farther in the right direction. I think it can be done. It's going to take a lot of work, yes, but I think it'll be well worth it. Now, there have been a lot of discussions as far as the future of Everybody Edits within the team, and that's a lot of stuff that I can't really talk about just yet because, well, it's not really decided. We're just experimenting with different things. For example, I'm mostly focusing on the technologies. Obviously, I'm doing programming on the game, so that kind of makes sense. So I'm exploring, okay, what different options are there for an HTML5 version of the game? Because it's obvious that there needs to be an HTML5 version of the game in some form or another, whether it's using Unity, exporting WebGL, which is HTML5, or coding something directly, which seems a little more likely, honestly. Now, even still with that, there's a few different options. Are we going to use WebGL rendering, or can we get away with the Canvas 2D rendering stuff, which is admittedly a little bit slower if used improperly or trying to push it too far, but is a lot simpler to code with. So they all have their trade-offs, and that's the kind of stuff we're experimenting with right now. We're trying to find the best route forward for the performance of the game and the ease of being able to code it. So we want to be able to push out updates as quickly as possible and fix things and refine things and tweak things where needed to make sure the experience is as good as possible without making it really difficult for ourselves to be able to do that and making a tangled mess of really complicated code or anything. We want to keep things as simple as possible. But anyway, I think that's going a little too much in detail for now, so I'll get back to my point. I really care about the game and its future, and I really think it has a future. It's just going to take some work to get it to that point. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something, be sure to leave a like, maybe a comment, and definitely subscribe for more content from me in the near future. So yeah, I'll see you around. Goodbye.